Hey, Rani here. Should we make a game? We are back after yesterday's horrifying adventure implementing a timer queue. I actually went away on sort of my own time off stream and I did a little bit of extra work. So we now have the ability to create an animated mesh. So if I go into, where's my test script? There it is. You can literally just make a list of meshes, numbers of frames to display them for, and it will, if you tell it to, it'll create an animated mesh displaying that, and the timers run automatically. You don't need any further code specific to that use case for that to work. And then I also went back and I did a bit of palette adjustment on this. I made everything that was directly lit by the outside a bit more kind of warm, yellow-orange tinted, because it's meant to be kind of sodium lights outside, and then anything that's kind of like indirectly lit is now more blue because the room is very kind of like muted in its palette. I need to redo the curtains, but other than that, things like the TV, the window frame, and the light in the ceiling, and then more warm tinted to kind of hint at the fact they're being directly lit by the outside. And then things get more and more blue as they get towards the edges. And things like this, which are actually kind of doing a bit of both, they're kind of a mid-tone between the two. So today we're going to be animating this guy. So let's get our agenda up. I need to make a few alternate textures for the face, specifically so that we can have him kind of like emote slightly. So like a mouth open, eyes in various different poses, because at the moment he's got eyes shut. And then for this particular cutscene, we need him kind of sleeping in his chair. Two kind of poses just so we can kind of like, alternate between them. A pose of kind of like, in shock when the angel kind of comes through the window. And then I'm going to have him kind of like rubbing his eyes because he can't believe what he's seeing. That's going to take two poses, his elbows kind of going up and down as he does it. And then we have him kind of like, searching for his glasses, grabbing them, putting them on his face, and then an idle pose while the angel kind of explains. He's kind of like pressed back in his seat like, what on earth is happening? So I'm going to start off with the... what I'm actually going to start off with is putting some glasses on this guy because he currently doesn't have any and they're going to be part of this kind of cutscene. I might move the head over just to make it like myself a nice big contiguous area, but honestly, I might not need to. That's kind of annoying. I'm going to have to like retexture the entire face because there's no polygon directly around the eyes. So yeah, let's head to here, see if we can find the rough outline. So it runs from kind of like 1 pixel into the hairline either side. So from like there to there, I think. And I think down to like there. One above there. So kind of like that. Should be able to grab that, put it in the corner. But I don't think I need all of those texels, do I? Because let's just temporarily rip his face off and move it over there. I've kind of got it on snap to center at the moment, snap to corner. It has misaligned the center there, sort of crease by doing that. That's not the end of the world. So yeah, we can get rid of basically all texels all the way down there and all the way down there. Now I do need to keep in mind I need to leave like at least a couple of pixels of boundary between this and anything else. Oops, that was too many texels cut off. And the only reason I need to do that is because I need to add some padding later on to compensate for the fact that my renderer kind of sucks. Oh, it's still too many pixels cut. Okay, is that more like it? That's more like it. Can we cut some of these out? Excellent. I think we can in fact cut 3 whole pixels of each side. All right, so now we can probably grab this and put the other one kind of over here. This is going to occupy more pixels than I quite had in mind for. I can probably fit some more kind of down here. As long as the general layout still matches this, I'm kind of happy with it. I can probably fit the glasses in here. Let's see. Does this fit neatly down here? Not quite. We need a pixel of space on either side, so that's not actually quite good enough because it's actually butting up against the surrounding islands, meaning that it will bleed slightly from one to the other. I might just need to make this a bit bigger, and I'm just going to do that now. So, how big are we going? See what I might do. I might just move the arms down slightly, because that'll allow me to stick an extra face in beneath each one of these. Oh, actually, I don't even need to flip it upside down. It'll actually fit nicely like that. That'll do. So let's do the same to the other side. This stick is going to end up slightly shorter. That's not such a big deal. There's no real detail on it anyway. Making some real vaporwave looking art right now. Intentionally or otherwise. But the head isn't quite centered, so we've ended up with it slightly closer on. I think we can get away with that, though. They're two very similar colors. That shouldn't bleed in a way that's particularly meaningful or important. Okay. So now we can have a bit of a go at kind of like doing one of our poses, so one of the texture poses. So want like a kind of like a shocked look, you know, it's kind of like his eyes are wide. He's like, whoa, what the heck is going on here? So maybe we lower the eye line down slightly. Turn on the symmetry tool. Symmetry tool will be useful here. And eye color, I'm not quite sure because, you know, you could, in theory, go, you know, like completely bright white, like, at least I could if I turn the palette lock off. In theory, I could go like completely bright white like this, but that's not really a match. That, yeah, the rest of it's actually relatively photorealistic given it's such low color. So let's go for darker than that. Not like completely pitch black, but like, yeah, that sort of like brightness. And let's go for a slightly kind of like yellowed look, just to kind of like, you know, go with the kind of slight sort of, not quite jaundiced, but kind of, yeah, that sort of direction look for the rest of the skin and things. And then let's make a typical stack of variants of that color. Maybe go like slightly more red towards the darker parts, just to kind of like, yeah, you get that kind of like pink pigmentation in the corners of the eye. This is going to look terrible, and I'm totally here for it. I will put a pupil in there in a minute. This is meant to be a shocked expression, so we can probably get away with it looking a bit goofy, to be honest. Now, what do I do with the eyes? Because, like, yeah, you could do the whole sort of Minecraft villager or almost sort of Dragon Ball thing where they're always kind of looking like that, but that's not quite what I'm after here. Annoyingly, I've made the eyes like an even number of pixels, so I'd have to kind of like do that, which will make the pupils absolutely gigantic, which isn't quite what I'm after. Maybe we can go for kind of like, maybe we can kind of like go for kind of like almost kind of like a checkerboard pattern where we kind of like have a bit like that. Nope, that looks really strange. Don't do that. Don't do that. That looks really weird too. Let's see how that looks. That looks really weird. I might stick with it. He's meant to be kind of shocked, so maybe if we kind of like you know, give him kind of like a matching mouth, maybe it'll stop looking quite so weird. I'm not counting on that. Maybe the kind of like the yeah, the brow should be raised a bit as well. Oh my god, that was not the expression I was hoping for. Let's try this again. Okay, let's try going with a more neutral expression, and then maybe we'll go into the more sort of crazed expressions later on. So we can add like sort of like maybe a bit of yeah, just like a very narrow eye, like kind of like that. Oh, that looks a bit weird. That doesn't look right. That doesn't look right. They're way too high up. Man. Now he just looks incredibly depressed, which was the tone I was hoping to avoid with this game at this point, actually. Actually, you know what? That kind of works. That kind of works for a neutral expression. I'll take it. So that's kind of a neutral expression, and we're gonna have like a squinting expression. How am I gonna hint at that given they're already a pixel high? Well, I'm thinking if I just shade them a bit harder, it'll look kind of squinty. You know, if I lower the brow quite a bit, It's almost kind of like, you know, he's really, really concentrating whatever it is looking at. And maybe move the eyes a pixel closer to go. Oh, that's looking a bit, like some of those older like Japanese woodblock paintings that look a bit where they. I'm sure there's a good like reason for it, or like a, you know, like an art history thing, but that's looking very much like an old Japanese woodblock. It's not where we're trying to go. Not where we're trying to go with that today. That actually looks like he's kind of squinting. Maybe a bit of a, you know, hinted to it a bit more with the rest of the expression. But yeah, that kind of looks like he's kind of like not believing what he's seeing. Okay, so here we go. Let's go in for the hard one next. The kind of like, whoa, what the heck is going on expression. And I'm going to clear the space because we're not using it yet, just to make it obvious so we can use it later on. Okay. Yeah, let's really raise his eyebrows a bit. This is a bit where Katie Teedrich, is it Teedrich or Tydrich? I don't know which. Has this kind of comic where she talks about drawing character facial expressions, how she tends to mimic them as she's drawing, and I'm definitely doing that right now. So let's see how it looks when it's moved into the corner. That actually kind of works. With these pixels being so gigantic, you don't actually need that much change for it to kind of like, you know, actually look really different. Oh, I enjoy doing character expressions so much. Oh, there we go. And then it looks kind of like he's slightly fearful, which is kind of what I was going for, you know, like an angel's visiting him. He's a bit kind of like, whoa, what's going on? Let's adjust that color a bit. I think I've gone a bit too extreme with that color. There we go. That's the kind of crazy expression I was after. One of the things is, of course, we're going to be rendering this at a very low resolution, meaning that we really, really need the expressions to be quite exaggerated for them to even come through at all. Just going to check what the other ones look like now we've made those palette adjustments. That one still looks good, and that one still looks good. So we can now cross off those two. And I was going to do, the reason I had that separate mouth open was I was expecting to be able to texture the eyes and the mouth separately, but because it's turned out they share a UV island, I can't do that. So we've eliminated that one by complete accident. Right, so next up, we start posing our guy. Let me just sort this out. Okay, so the way I'm going to do this, a bit weird, but it's because of the kind of flipbook animation style I'm doing. So make a separate copy of the model and then pose it. So I'm going to make a sitting one and work from there. Hang on, I need to fix the UVs before I do that. Completely forgot, but we can fix that now. And we just shorten the walking stick slightly, given I've reduced its texture area. It's going to be easier to do within the event, but we won't have any overlapping UVs at that point. And that should do. Okay. Hide our T-pose, make a sitting mesh. So I'm going to try and keep the feet in the same position. The reason for that is it means that, you know, animating him, say, getting up will be easier because, like, I'll just have to basically, like, make him line back up with his feet, and sitting down be easy because he's just lined back up with the, you know, his feet stay planted. I am going to lift them very slightly off the ground, but in terms of, like, you know, X and Z coordinates. I'm going to keep them about the same. Stick is going to have to move. So let's just export what we have for now. Let's get that set up. Okay. Now we should be able to do a make, and it shouldn't actually look any different, but oh no, it's failed. It's failed to build. Why is it failed to build? Does it include objects that are hidden by default? No idea. Anyway, let's try building again. There we go. Right. Okay. Yeah. The reason was, and again, you can't see this, it's in the kind of like OBJ export options, is that it was set to not export anything I have hidden. Let's fix that. And now I can hide the T-pose, and I should be able to export, because I've switched it over to exporting everything that is rendered instead. So this should just work without me changing anything. There we go. Yep, still working. So now I need to go into here and change it so that it's instead pulling through the sitting pose. Again, this should look no different because I've not actually altered the pose at this point, but the game still builds and runs. So that's a good sign. So first of all, I need to move the stick. I'm going to put it down the side of the chair. So no idea how much I'm moving it by here. Let's just try, say, there. That seems about right. Make. I do plan on getting this doing sort of watch builds eventually, so I don't need to keep pressing make. Oh, hang on. That bug with the the actual code that plugs the WASM module into the web browser is not very good. And it has many bugs. So yeah, it looks like the stick is down the side of the chair. So I'm just going to lean it over very slightly. So kind of like that. And maybe lean it back slightly. And just check that it's level. It's round about level. Build again. So yeah, the stick is now kind of there, it's leaned back. So next up, we have to get this guy seated. Now, because we're not using like skeletal animation or anything like that, we can do whatever we want to these vertices. We can distort, twist them however we like. There's no consequences. I am going to lift this guy up off the ground. Say about that much. And oh wait, his head didn't come. his head didn't come along for the ride. Oops. Okay, deselect everything below the waist. And maybe put it like, say, there. Now this looks terrible at the minute. Don't worry, we're going to make it worse. Just going to see if that's roughly situated correctly. Okay, right, we need to lower the back slightly. And then we can grab the front of the knees and raise it up a bit, just so that we've kind of like, you know, preserve that kind of like volume, that body. Let's grab the whole front of this guy, lift it up. And let's do the same with kind of like his torso, just kind of like even out the UVs slightly. Lower that down a bit. Okay, how's that looking, engine? I need to get this iteration loop kind of like, you know, calmed down a bit. Okay, so next up we need to lean him back a bit in the chair because at the moment he's just like way too upright. So again, we're going to select everything north of the Enough of the waist. Actually, I should have set the rotation center before I did that. So let's just do that now. Where are we going for the rotation center? I guess in the middle of the two sort of like hip polygons. Okay. Oops, didn't mean to bring the walking stick along for the ride. Just gonna do a slight lean back, not too much. And then we're gonna lean the head back forwards just to kind of keep it sort of in the right place. The moment he's very much asserting dominance, which is not where we're going with this. Okay, it's nowhere near the back of the chair, but you know what? Doesn't matter. The chair's was way too big for the guy. Maybe I should model a cushion in there or something later on. We'll see. Time is fleeting. So let's rotate the arms down a bit so that they're kind of like not asserting quite as much dominance. Now we are going to get a bit of UV distortion when we do this. It's kind of unavoidable, unfortunately. How does that look? That looks... those UVs are not great, but that'll do. "25 minutes in. Come on, we can get these animations done today." I think I need to lower the shoulders slightly. Yeah, that looks a bit less weird. Let's also rock the head back slightly. I think I might have gone too far. There we go. With the exception of the chair being like way too big for him, that actually looks okay. Yeah, we'll fix that another time. So, next up we need to make kind of like sleeping poses. So again, duplicate the model, and then I'm going to kind of like slump to the side a bit, you know, kind of like so. Turn off the sort of symmetry because we're not going to be making it symmetrical. And yeah, I guess scrap everything north of the hips again. Nope, nope, nope. We're going to set a rotation center first. When will I learn? Oh, the circle select tool is so good. And I'm thinking the arms would actually like slightly adjust, so maybe I can have this one kind of like resting on the side. Didn't change the rotation center again. And then the head is going to be like really, really rotated. So, oops, and change it back to 3D cursor. Ah! That'll do. That's kind of like he's sleeping, right? So let's make a second variant of that. And let's just shift some things around slightly. So yeah, let's grab all of the kind of like torso vertices, and then We're going to move those without moving the arms for now. So I should be able to just give it a slight little adjustment this way. The more crusty it looks, the more it looks like the PlayStation 1, so we're probably doing fine anyway. Just slight adjustment to this. Just so we get a bit of pixel pop, just to make it really look like it's kind of alive and breathing. And we're going to rock the head forward very slightly, bring it forwards. And I guess we export it and see how it looks. Because what was being kind of like a slightly strange way of doing animation, Blender doesn't really give us a good way of previewing it. So we can import sleeping A, import sleeping B, and then we're going to make an animation with it, with those two poses. Yeah. It's probably a much better way of implementing this kind of like structure arrays thing of event making. It's kind of ugly. And let's go think a bit slower. Let's go for say 20 and 22 frames for the animation. And yeah, at the moment we're using a non-animated mesh, so I'm just going to swap that over. It's dead easy though. Okay, we've done our build. Let's refresh. Okay, definitely needs more backwards and forwards motion and less side to side motion. So let's go with a bit of adjustment. And I'm also going to slow it down a lot. That's way too fast. It's like having like the worst nightmare he's ever had if he's moving that quickly. So again, let's grab everything north of the waist. And let's rock it forward slightly. Oops, his head's kind of coming off now. Kind of gone a bit overboard. There we go. Export again. Do another build. See how it looks. That's way too much movement. Oh no, I've made it worse. Oh no. Okay. You know, I think the second pose is actually closer to what it should be, so I might actually delete the first pose and then remake it. Yeah, let's do a bit more. Let's make it a bit more extreme. This is the most extreme sleeping elderly person you've ever seen. Keep the hands perfectly planted. They should be kind of like remaining still. Select and deselect the head. And then very slight rotation, just like that. And let's see how that looks. That kind of works. That kind of works. I might put some, floating Z's in there at some point, just to kind of like really drive home the fact that he's definitely sleeping and not, I don't know, resisting a very slow earthquake. So I forgot to model glasses onto this guy, so I'm going to fix that now. Let's go into our texture here. We've got plenty of space to put glasses into, so I'm going to try and put them in down here. So what color are we going for? I think I'm just going to go for like a very sort of, well, just go for total black. So, So I get an idea how big the eyes tend to be on this texture. Take that round. Probably, I'm trying to think, do I want them? Yeah, I'm gonna have like a single pixel joining them in the middle, and then have them actually quite big and kind of looping around like this. I want them quite big so they don't have much of a chance of like obscuring your kind of like view of the eyes, given so much expression happens through them. I'm gonna need a lot more room for the ends of the frames though. I said they're not gonna have any texture on them. Yeah, I'm just gonna move this out of here. And I hope I wasn't just drawing on anything because I had the symmetry tool on. Oops. I do that a lot. Still haven't learned. Let's just clean up all our geometry here. Let's see how that kind of looks. Yeah, I'm actually going to mirror it now. Now that I think about it, I'm going to mirror it and put it back in there. Let's see how that looks kind of in context. Now, I don't think the transparency is going to work here, so I'm going to temporarily export this to a PNG, purely so I can see the transparency. I think I can actually change the image here, and it should propagate onto this. We'll find out. So let's duplicate a piece of the face, and then, yeah. Oh, I've still got this set to snapping to centers, not corners. There we go. Okay, those look terrible. I love it. Man, they look way higher pixel density than I was expecting. What's going on there? Not too sure on these so far. Not too sure on them. Let's try giving them a bit of colour, just a bit. I feel like they're a bit too dark and they contrast in a way that's almost kind of like slightly comical. Okay, that might work. Or that could happen. Yay, I'm going to be editing VODs again. Okay. Let's extend this back to here. Yeah, I'm gonna need more texture space. Okay, all right, this is starting to look a bit less silly. That's good. All right. That's looking okay. A few more adjustments to make, but that's looking actually kind of okay. So let's now mirror that over to the other side. Let's make sure that our 3D cursor is centered. Oh god, we're running out of time for today. Ah! Flip the normals. Hey, that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. Pretty happy with that. Something that will help is I'm about to adjust the center line. The center line is currently slightly off. So I need half a pixel on both sides. So let's turn off our rounding. And how big is this texture again? It is 84 pixels. So we need 1 divided by 84 times 2. So 1 divided by 168. Oh, can you? Oh, so I know that you can type. There we go. Yeah, you can type a / while you're typing in a number, and it'll do 1 divided by that number. There we go. Hey, that looks okay. A bit exaggerated, but we can adjust that texture later on. Next up. What was the next pose we had in our list? So we've got those two. The shock pose, the kind of like, wah, what's happening pose. So we're going to take the sitting pose again, and I'm going to call this one shock. So, what's he going to do here? Let's lift him up slightly. Yeah, it's almost like the surprise of everything that's happening is kind of lifting him out of his seat slightly. Not too much, but just a touch. And then we're going to rotate the arms up. Symmetry off, I think. Oh, still got the rotation center set. This is only going to be very briefly there, so I can probably get away with only 1 frame of animation for this. And move the shoulder up both sides, just to kind of like clean up on the fact that it's a bit ugly looking. And let's also move the legs apart slightly. Yeah, he's really kind of shocked by what he's seeing. He's really kind of like getting quite animated. Maybe I'm raising the arms too much. Oops. It'd take a lot to get me to move that much, I can tell you that much. Okay. Let's export this back out, see how it looks in context. Okay, so let's make a component for our protagonist on the kind of like the top level. And then we're going to assign it here. Yeah, so basically we're creating a protagonist here, and then we're going to be manipulating it here. And what that means is we need to keep like a reference to it somewhere. And then I can also, I can create a timer. So I need to import the timer component. I'm thinking like 2 or 3 seconds is probably long enough. I'm going to create a little protagonist. And let's go for 160 frames, so just under 3 seconds. Set the animation. We're going to use that component we captured earlier. And then we're going to give it the animation we're about to create, which is a shock animation. I don't really have a nice way of making an animated object display a single frame animation. You have to still make an animation, but it could be worse. Could be worse. I'll probably move these into their own file later on, just so I can, not have a big jumped up file. It's having a problem because I switched over to a PNG in here so I can see the glasses more clearly. I just need to switch that back. So, because my importer script was trying to import the PNG and it doesn't support anything other than TGA at the moment. Okay, good. Good. So, should get a few frames of... and then it crashes. Woohoo! Okay. Okay, so the other thing that I know why it crashed. I fixed these messages not coming through. The reason they weren't coming through was actually kind of embarrassing and stupid, which is that I only actually put the error handler in one of the event handlers. So if I go into my really rough kind of like runtime here, I had the error handler here like this. On the first time it invokes the engine, but when it comes around to do a subsequent frame, the error handler there didn't include anything to check for an error message. So it was actually correctly putting the error message in the right place in memory, but then there was nothing actually pulling it out to put it into the console. So the problem there is that I've given it what is supposed to be a timer callback, but it doesn't actually have the same call signature. So I just need basically a component ID in there. I'm not going to use it, so I'm just going to void it off. I am considering making it to the timer component. You can pass in like an arbitrary integer or something, just so you can, well, for example, animations, you can have them not have to like search for the right animation given the component ID. It's complaining because I didn't update the prototype. Let's give that a try. Okay, he's definitely kind of like shocked. Oh yeah, number one, I need to edit the, I need to change the facial expression because at the moment he's still sleeping. That one. I've got the snap turned off. And then I need to adjust the center line here back in. So our resolution is 68, so it's 136. So there we go. So yeah, now he's showing like quite a bit of kind of like fear and kind of shock. I wonder if that will actually come through at this low resolution, because there's a chance it won't, but let's check. He's kind of sleeping. And then not quite. The kind of like expression just isn't quite there. It looks way more lean back in this. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to lean in further. So put the rotation center down there. And oops. No, stay selected. I'm going to rotate the whole thing. Set the 3D cursor, rotate the whole thing back. because he's really recoiling. You know, he's really kind of like having a real reaction to this thing that's happening in front of him. Now there is also going to be, that transition is going to be slightly less jarring when more of the scene is done, as I'm going to have the angel kind of like bust through the window, and maybe like a white flash or something, just to kind of like smooth over it a bit. So next up, gonna have kind of like a variant of the sitting, where it's just kind of like a bit more lean back, and he's still gonna have that shocked expression on. So let's put that shocked expression back on his face. I wonder, can I snap the corner and then grab these and then snap to edge and then only move on? No. I don't know if only moving on X would like leave the Y kind of snap to the pixel edges, but no, it doesn't. No big deal. So was it 136 divided by 2? That's one. There it is. Okay. Oh, I didn't want to. Oh, damn it. I did a sitting pose, didn't want to do that. Recovering. Let's give him a recovering frame. Yeah, before he starts like rubbing his eyes, you know, he's taking it in before he starts going, am I really seeing this? Okay, let's see how that kind of looks in context. I might make a helper, to be honest, to make single frame animations, given it seems to be quite a common thing. That would probably be quite handy. What do I call it? Recovering? Recovering. And let's display that for 120 frames. Yeah, this kind of like hack I'm doing to kind of like make a structure of arrays more kind of like appealing to write. The auto formatter doesn't quite understand what I'm trying to do, and it kind of goes a bit bassy. It's kind of like all sorts of weird indents. Okay, let's have him still recoiled back a bit. You know, he's not quite as shocked as he was before, but he's still kind of shocked. So let's pull him back very slightly. And maybe have the arms do the same thing. I don't do a lot of animation. It's something that's definitely a big blind spot for me. I don't know a huge amount about it. Let's see how that looks. So, he's sleeping, the angel busts in, he's surprised. Yeah, that's perfect, that's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. So, next up, let's go for our list here. We've got the shock pose, rubbing eyes. Now, we've only got 11 minutes. The likelihood of me getting all this done is not great. So, let's do what we can though. Maybe I can overrun a bit just to get this, you know, this to-do list of mine done. And let's reset this back to the middle of the face. Oh, I can actually turn off the snap and then use the vertex snap instead to get the line up. That way, I keep my nice center line. So, let's see here. He's probably leaning forward slightly to kind of rub his eyes, just getting, you know, his head closer to where his hands should be. So, let's grab this. And change the rotation center again. Kind of like there. And then I'm just going to hide his head for a moment. ignore. As funny as that may look, try and ignore it. And then go into kind of like X-ray mode, grab all of his vertices, and we're going to pull them forward slightly just to kind of make it so it's leaning over. This is how people used to animate back in the day, I think. You had like models that were kind of like the vertex animated. It's kind of like this, but with interpolation. What I'm actually going for here is I want to kind of look like sprite animation, right? Sprite animation kind of looks a bit like a flipbook. It's kind of somewhere between your, sort of like your, modern indie game kind of sprite look and a PlayStation 1 look. Kind of employing the hallmarks of both. Right, so what have I done here? This looks very twisted and tangled. I think I need to swap these around. That looks better. Oh my goodness me, what's happened to his head? I think I might have pulled him forward slightly too... Oh! I think I might have pulled him slightly too far forwards. Okay, let's pull these hands up. Probably going to turn on symmetry in a second just to kind of... Oops! Really kind of like tune these in and get them just right. Yeah, that's it. Like he's kind of like rubbing his face. Just rotate them around a bit, make them look a bit less weird. Oh, I've really messed up one of his hands. Oops. Yeah, I think the symmetry tool got a bit confused there. Let's sort this by hand. Okay, and let's clone that and make a vector like this. I'm just going to lean his entire upper body over slightly just to give it a bit of extra kind of, bit of extra motion. And I'm also going to like bring the elbows up a bit just to kind of make it look like he's really scrunching his eyes. And let's maybe move the hands slightly, rotate them or something. Just to really, really kind of hammer home the whole sort of, really moving. And let's go rubbing eyes B. Excellent. Let's export that and see what happens. Next up, we need to import those two. Oops, not the sleeping animation. This one. Oops, pressing wrong buttons all the time. And we can repeat one of those frames. We can do that in this system. We don't have to have unique frames all the way through the animation. So let's go for, say, 40 frames on both of those. Relatively quick, but also kind of not instant either. Ah, look what the auto indent is doing to my code. Isn't it beautiful? Okay, he's asleep. Angel busts in, he's shocked. And then he's kind of rubbing his eyes a bit. Oh, that looks perfect. Hell yeah. Okay, all right. I'm happy with this animation progress so far. So next up, we want him to kind of like, yeah, this one here, he's searching for his glasses, so he's kind of squinting. Yeah, that's perfect. So if I grab the sitting one again, and I'm thinking, like, say, having him like reach around to the sides because he's kind of like, he's maybe lost him down the side. Maybe you can feel him against his hip or something. First of all, let's do the facial animation. And snap the corners again. Snap off. Oh, I didn't rename the mesh again. Ah! Searching for glasses. And around the corners. Turn it off. Okay. How many frames do I have left on this? Okay, we're almost there. We're almost there because we've got down to grabbing glasses. We've got this frame and one more. Yeah, we can do this tonight, no problem. So yeah, he's going to be kind of like looking to this. Oh. Oh, I need to turn the symmetry tool off. Yeah, he's kind of like looking down the side there. He's leaning his whole body over a bit as well. Maybe he kind of like, you know, moves his leg around just to kind of like make a bit of space. And then, yeah, we're going to grab the whole lower body and we're going to give it a bit of a twist. Move it over. It's just so we're kind of like, yeah, giving tons of space to kind of like reach down and grab those glasses. And this arm, we're going to have this arm kind of searching down the side of the sofa. And we're also going to twist the whole upper body around a bit, just so he's kind of like, you know, moving his upper body to kind of like help his arm get into position. Maybe a bit more extreme than this. More like that. And then we're going to move the head as well. Okay, almost there with this, I think. This is one of the more kind of like extreme distortions of this model, but it should look okay in context. And one of those things about style is that you can make it look pretty bad and it looks intentional. If any, most things on the computer are like that, huh? Right, so searching for his glasses. I think he's going to lift them in front of his face and then put them on, right? So if I'm just going to export it as it currently is and see how it kind of looks. Who needs motion capture, am I right? Okay, sleeping, Angel surprises him. Rubs his eyes a bit. Okay, yeah, that was kind of perfect. Maybe slightly longer there. And let's remove a repeat of the eye rubbing. It's just a bit, it goes on a bit too long, I think. Let's give that a try. Okay, we have like one more frame to go, right? Well, two. So sitting one, putting on glasses, and I'm gonna grab the T-pose, and I'm gonna sorry, I wasn't ready for that. Yeah, like I was saying, I'm gonna grab the glasses, I'm gonna duplicate them. Oh, hang on, they've not actually welded onto the rest of the model. Let's collapse slightly. Yeah, duplicate, extract. Now we have a portable pair of glasses. Can hide this model again. Get these into roughly the right position. What I might actually do is, I'm just going to switch this image back over to the PNG just so I can get it transparent again, just so I can line them nicely. And I might just turn off material export just temporarily, just so I can, yeah, continue kind of like getting this like really good view without having to, can I just cursor to geometry? Without having to switch texture on off again. Oh, is it origin to geometry? There it is. That probably took like 10 times as long as what I was going to do otherwise. Okay, so I'm actually just going to connect that into a sitting sprite. Well, not sprite, but pose. And then I'm going to put a really long hold on the sitting pose after that. Something like, say, 300 just for the case of, you know, just for argument. Let's see how that looks. I didn't actually export that, did I? No, I didn't. Turn off material export, go. Oh, it didn't export material names when I did that. That's annoying. Yeah, so it actually exported the file with no materials, just like I asked, which meant that there was nothing linking the materials it previously exported to an MTL file back to the actual polygons. Okay, let's try that again. Right, so he's sleeping. He's surprised. Gonna rub his eyes a bit. Get some glasses. And I don't see any glasses. I'm wondering if maybe they're just too... Hang on, let me make them way more obvious. I think I know what happened there. I think that the glasses are so so fine that they just don't show up at that resolution, which is going to be a bit annoying. I might need to adjust this texture later on just to make sure they definitely show up. Let's see. You should have very visible bright yellow glasses now. No, he still doesn't have visible glasses. I put them on the wrong model, that's why. Oh no, what am I doing? Let's hide that model. Yeah, let's merge them into that model. Okay, we're going to finish this animation today. I still don't see it. Where? Why don't I see it? That's definitely part of the right model. So export it again, and then I'm also going to put a big sort of, you know, hot dog mustard sauce sort of stripe on it, just so it's definitely visible. Oh yeah, okay. I can see the odd bit of hot dog there. That's unfortunate. It's just that the pixels. That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah. Um, yeah. So the glasses are actually there. It's just there's literally not enough pixels on the screen for you to actually be able to see them because they're so thin. That's kind of annoying. That's kind of annoying, but we'll figure that. Yeah, and then I've got to do one more frame, which is him kind of like putting them onto his face, just so we kind of got the screen frame of him. It's pretty much going to be the same as the. Oh, I've been good, thanks. You been alright? The only real difference with this one is we're going to have him very slightly leaned forwards and. Oh, no, didn't mean to do that. Very, very slight lean forwards, and we're going to have his hands kind of outstretched. Let's do that again. His upper body kind of like lean forwards very slightly. Put his head back on. Yeah, it really has been hot. I mean, in this part of the world, as you probably know, there's not a lot of air conditioning. So everyone just melts, I guess. Just grab the glasses and move them forwards a bit. I'll try and find a solution to this a bit later on. Okay, let's untwist all this weird geometry I've just made. Can I untwist this? Oh, I've made a real mess of this now. Now, at least in the UK, something that really doesn't help, and I know it's hardly the only factor, a lot of it's just cost and the fact there's not a lot of, whereas in the US there's a lot of what they call HVAC people. In the UK we don't really have a whole lot of that because there's not an industry for it, but a lot of buildings in the UK are listed, meaning that you can't install anything that would significantly alter their appearance. So things like external air conditioning units and stuff, you're not allowed to fit them. Which kind of sucks. It means that people have to use the smaller portable ones, which are nowhere near as efficient. And the increased cost of running them can actually price a lot of people out of having them at all. Okay, that might work. So we're going to need an animation frame for putting on glasses. And then let's play that for about a second. Press build, see what happens. Not that bad, no. It's just that the thing with them is obviously the bit that actually is moving the air is inside the room, so the heat is actually usually being expelled into the room that you're trying to cool. They're definitely better than nothing. Definitely better than nothing. Okay, so sleeping, surprised, rubbing his eyes a bit. And then he's reaching down for the glasses. He's putting them on. Okay, and if you could see the glasses, trust me, they'd be there. Let's just try doubling up the pixels a bit, see if they show up a bit more clearly. That doesn't look very good either. I'm going to have to figure out a better solution to that. Maybe even drawing them as kind of like a wireframe mode or something. Anyway, that concludes the to-do list for today. So, Tomorrow, I guess we start animating the antagonist. Yeah, that's going to be a bit more complicated, so that might take 2 sessions, not just one. In any case, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great evening.